Joining us now, Executive Director of the American Conservative magazine, Curt Mills. So, Curt, what's your big takeaway from the president's trip so far to the Arabian Gulf monarchies?
I believe it's the biggest. This is really saying something, but this is arguably the biggest week of Trump's presidencies. You could maybe argue COVID, but that was obviously a pretty negative macro shock on it. This is something that the president has decided to do. He is frankly shocking the world. The number of even sort of Democratic, left-wing, plaudits that he's received over the last 72 hours, 48 hours has been extraordinary. It appears that Trump is pursuing an America First foreign policy, no exceptions.
It also seems there's a new doctrine here that revolves around a country's capability to buy our stuff. Like, is that too normative of us, or is it okay to say, you know what, if a country has the ability to buy our stuff and relatively work with us on defense, that's enough for a productive relationship?
Yeah, no, I think there's always a tendency, especially when analyzing President Trump's philosophy, to try to disentangle the economics from the foreign policy. But the reality is that it's been hand in hand from the beginning. Trump, when he walked down the escalators, everybody knows, complained about all of these endless wars, and he complained about the, sort of hollowing out of America. He clearly sees them as hand in hand. And so the president appears to be hell-bent on extricating us from foreign theaters, number one, and then number two, looking where he can find pecuniary gain for the American people.
There is a certain critique being launched at Trump from like the Mark Levin wing of the Fox News green room, saying that this is an insult to Israel, that any trip to the Middle East has to revolve around Israel. President Trump seems to be carrying Israel's water, asking these other countries to help build momentum for the Abraham Accords. But is there something to take note of here, that there's a diminution in sort of the Israel first wing of MAGAism and republicanism?
I think it's a psychic tell. Read the guy's posts. He's utterly histrionic. He's everything's all caps. He's making things up. There are open typos in half the things he's writing. So either the person he's dictating to is messing up, or he himself is messing up. It's just not, this is somebody who has interview space with the president. This is somebody who has an enormous following. This is somebody who is a brand name, but this is also somebody who's arguably not a very serious person. And so I think it's a conflict, and I would be fascinated, frankly, to see Levin and Trump sit down face to face and see Levin talk to President Trump like he talks to the internet.
President Trump also seems to be pulling together typical Sunni allies to encircle Iran, not with a bunch of kinetic engagements with various and sundry proxy groups forever, but with this approach. Do you think there's an ability to get Iran to back down if Trump is able to build a sufficient ballast with these Gulf monarchies?
No, I think for sure. I think contra the environment where the Obama-Iran deal was inked, and contra the environment that pervaded all of Trump's first term, the Middle East is, at least in the Muslim world, is far more united than it's been basically in my career. Saudi wants to deal with Iran. UAE wants to deal with Iran. Qatar has always been in favor of a deal with Iran. And so the three places that he is visiting this week are all very ecumenical or accommodative of a potential deal with Iran. There's basically one spoiler, the Netanyahu government in Israel, and then, the sort of laggards in the Senate GOP. But Trump has not gotten this far by fearing the institutional GOP. And as I said earlier today, I think he should finish the job.
I'm typically on the pro-engagement side of diplomacy, and when I saw President Trump announce yesterday a desire to end sanctions on Syria, even I was surprised. What do you think that tells us about Trump's broader approach to sanctions?
It shows that he's agnostic on them. First of all, I would say the consensus within Washington has collapsed around sanctions very quietly. The U.S. has been sanctioning, countries across the globe to very little effect for decades. Basically since the global war on terror in a major big way. And I think Trump himself, while his administration often rolls these things out, he's been around the block now for 10 years in presidential politics, and he has seen there's been very little effect. As for the meeting with Ahmed al-Sharaa, the new president of Syria, I mean, it's just an astonishing thing. This is somebody who was captured by U.S. Coalition forces 20 years ago in 2005. This is somebody who had a bounty on his head by the U.S. government as late as 2024, and he shook hands with the president of the United States. President of the United States called him a fighter, said he seemed like a winner, a young, smart guy who wants to improve his country. That kind of sort of non-ideological, what you see is what you get approach is what people keep voting for. And, for all the talk of democracy, seems to resonate with the American people. And, the people that are most opposed to this, I think, are often in foreign capitals or in, very quiet offices in Washington, D.C. But that, at the end of the day, only matters so much.
In that vein, there's a riff in Trump's speech in Saudi that I could have read in the American Conservative magazine, and I know you know the one I'm talking about, where he mentions the nation builders' failures to build even competent cities, that the interventionists didn't understand the lands they were intervening in, and that the success in the Middle East emerged from the people who lived there. Do you think that the Trump foreign policy doctrine will carry that message beyond the Middle East to the global South, to Asia, to Africa, and beyond?
It seems like it. I mean, part of the idea, I think, of getting the U.S. so out of the Middle East and less committed to it militarily is in re-engagement in the Americas. South America, Latin America has been essentially abandoned for U.S. attention. I mean, I remember when I first started covering, foreign affairs, if I called a Latin American think tank, they were just stunned to even hear from a reporter. That's not the case today. I think, the grand idea of this term and potential successors under Trump is reshoring and focusing on the Americas here and now. And look, I mean, it's far more realistic. And for all the complaints about the designs on Greenland, the designs on Panama, the sort of back and forth with the Canadians, say what you will about it, it's far more rational and close to home than trying to invade Iraq or try to invade Iran.
Curt Mills, Executive Director of the American Conservative, thanks as always for coming on and sharing your expertise.